you know, but because of my dedication to this game alone, you know, I over the years I've been extremely committed and overcome all of the obstacles, trying to put the Miami Heat in a position to win a championship. You know, and I've gotten a lot out of this game. From a material standpoint, I've gotten security for not just for myself, but for my family, you know, but there's not but one more thing to play for right now, and that's a championship, you know, and I want to have that opportunity, and slowly I feel that that window is closing. At the same time, I do know that that an opportunity is here for us. Let me tell you the God's honest truth, you know, every time I step out on that court, I'm afraid, I'm scared, you know, and I'm human. It's natural. It's natural to be scared, you know. And the reason why I'm scared is because the doctors haven't really given me any solid answers on my future. Although I continue to feel like a guinea pig in all of this, and they continue to give me these new medications, you know, I'm going to do whatever it takes to continue to fight and beat this. And I won't change my attitude one bit, you know, and I'm just patiently waiting for my body to catch up with my mind and my heart and my spirit.
Pat Riley told me last week that for the last month, Alonzo Mourning has physically been ready to play, but it was going to be up to the doctors and up to Alonzo Mourning to decide when he would play. But in terms of being able to do the basketball stuff, Pat Riley would have cleared him a month ago. What happened was that the medical information that they got when they had their meeting on Tuesday was better than they thought it might be, and it was to the point where they could at least think about playing, and Alonzo obviously wants to give it a shot and try it. So this is obviously changes the whole dynamic of the Eastern Conference. You think about the 76ers and the move they made to get Dikembe Mutombo. They did it with Miami in mind for next season. Now they're going to have to deal with them this season. Now, Rick, obviously, the Heat have adjusted on the fly with Brian Grant playing center. Now that they have their center back, what happens to the rest of them?
Well, it's a good question because they've moved Brian Grant to center, but they've run everything offensively and a lot of it defensively through Anthony Mason. And as Pat Riley told me, this team has adopted Anthony's personality. So there is a dramatic change there. It's not as simple as saying they now have their center, Alonzo, back and they're ready to roll. They're going to have to find a way to get those two to coexist. Anthony Mason told me that he doesn't mind co-starring with Zoe, but certainly doesn't feel he should be shunted aside. So it'll be a question to see whether they can get those guys on the same page. The question is, Jack, can they get that together in the next month or so before the playoffs start?
I think there will require an adjustment period for Alonzo Mourning to get back into it, and I think his immersion into the turbulent NBA stream is going to be gradual. He's not going to be playing the 35 minutes that he played in the past. But remember, you're getting the best defensive player in the NBA, and after Shaquille O'Neal, the most powerful post player. So Pat Riley will use Alonzo at the low post. And if he plays Anthony Mason and Zoe together, he'll find a way of going high and low. Mason, a very good passer, to get the ball to the low post to Zoe. But that will be his domain, and Mason will have to yield that. And Pat Riley will find a way also. He may not start the big front line. He may use Bruce Bowen also at the small forward to keep that tough defense against the perimeter players and inject a little speed into the lineup.
Welcome, everyone, to the NBA on TBS. Tonight, a collision of two playoff-bound teams. The Toronto Raptors with Vince Carter taking on the Miami Heat with Alonzo Mourning. This is a story that began suddenly about 3:30 this afternoon. And in the absence of Mourning's doctors, agent...
inadvertently bumped into Bowen after the whistle. Bowen didn't like it, said something to Carter, challenged Carter, but again, Carter's got to be smart. He can't, it's not an even trade. Bowen for Carter.
Well, and that's Bowen's job. I mean, anytime you see a defensive stopper, this guy's going to hold you, grab you, bump you. He's going to whisper sweet nothings in your ear if he has an opportunity. And if you get upset about it, as Danny indicated, fair trade is no robbery. But that's not a fair trade.
That is one of the matchups we'll watch tonight. They're battling again, and here they go.
I just love Bowen. I mean, he's on him and challenging every step of the way.
Shot clock at 4. Carter forces up a shot. Peterson was untouched. 3 times they had the chance for the tap in. 3 times they missed. A Miami foul called inside as Peterson and Antonio Davis were there battling for the tip-in for Toronto. We expect to see Alonzo Mourning soon on a big night in Miami tonight.
Well, that was something unusual. Vince made a cut that time, a little curl off the post, and he received the pass, as opposed to standing and trying to attack a stationary defense.
Brian Grant, the ex-King, the ex-Trailblazer, has had a sensational season in Miami.
He really has, and that's one part of his game that he's really improved on, is that outside shot. But right now, you know, Marley is guarding Vince Carter because Bowen's on the bench with 2 fouls, picked up 2 quick ones.
No, and I think if Alonzo's healthy and plays well, all of those big fellas had better improve their outside shooting. He'll probably end up, he'll probably end up in the middle.
What about that shot right there? Cedric Ceballos, by the way, has come in now for Miami, the ex-Laker and Phoenix Sun. And a foul called on Chris Childs.
Well, Miami loves fronting this low post right here, and the ball goes in the air. You see everybody flood the paint trying to stop it. Great reaction off the ball. But right here, great shot. Good defense by Grant, hold his position. Excellent touch by Antonio.
He was the starting center for the Eastern Conference All-Stars.
Well, that was a tribute to him, but I think that it is extremely important that he's able to be effective on the inside, just as he was right there, because they're going to need his shot blocking and his rebounding presence in there.
And Cedric Ceballos, just off the Miami bench, comes up with perseverance inside. He's fouled on the play by Peterson. He fires it across court. Here comes Carter with 6, a 2-point try, picked up by Hardaway in a 3-on-3. Ceballos on one side, Marley on the other. Hardaway inside, rejected by Carter. Subsequent missed shot by Grant. Here comes Toronto the other way. Rebounding, +3 for the Heat. Over and back. Over and back, and a second turnover for Lenny Wilkins' Toronto Raptors.
Well, and looking at this, you look at Grant blocking out Oakley. I mean, you're talking about 2 guys that really lock horns in there. Both of them claims the other one's fouled them. It's so hard to determine who's fouling whom when those 2 guys meet underneath.
See the rebounding story as Hardaway takes it wheeling inside on Childs. Another rebound by Davis of the Toronto Raptors. He has now collected 4.
Timmy's getting some shots up for a guy that's 14th in the career NBA history.
We watch Alonzo Mourning come back to the court, warming up, and look great doing that. And now playing for the first time since the Olympics in Sydney. Missing 69 games, Davis slipping and turning it over for Toronto.
How high do you think his heartbeat is right now? That's what they should be checking.
How high is my heartbeat right now? I'm not worried about his. I expected him to enter the game from the rafters.
John, how much below his ideal playing weight is he at right now?
Well, he looks good. That's one of the things I wanted to see in warm-up. I don't know exactly what his weight is right now, but it's the first time I've had an opportunity to see his body, and he's got great muscle definition. He had lost some of it. That was one of the things why he said he wanted to practice and wanted to lift, because he didn't want to lose a lot of that muscle definition and muscle tone.
He's been practicing for 6 weeks with this team.
Yeah, he's been doing good. I actually talked to Ceballos and Marley last time we were in Portland. He said, this guy is just a maniac. They got to slow him down.
Taking it inside. And rebounded by Oakley.
Well, he's functioning on adrenaline now. You can tell. He went across the middle. He dove for the loose ball. He's got to calm down and set the hit the pace of the game.
Riley just picked up a technical foul.
And you know, the amazing thing about this is there's no way that in drills you can duplicate this. The only way, that's why his heart's beating so fast. He needs to play through this. The guy is so intense, and then he takes the crop ball across the middle and misses the easy shot in the paint. He just has to calm down a little bit.
So the technical shot by Oakley, no good. And his first shot right there.
Well, looking at that, he got to the basket, as Danny said. That's a makeable shot, a shot that normally he would make. But he's got to calm down just a little bit. You're talking about a person that runs on high all the time. And now you're talking about with all this excitement, he's got to really hit his pace. It's going to take a couple of games or playing time to calm him down.
Toronto is led by as many as 6, shooting 50%. Miami is led by as many as 3. Vince Carter missing from outside. Ceballos with the rebound, taking the place of Bruce Bowen with a couple fouls on the Miami bench.
And Kevin, do you think it's a coincidence that Alonzo's playing tonight with Coach Thompson in the building?
Is it, John?
I say nothing. Only a coincidence.
But a very special moment nonetheless. And a Chris Childs foul and a subsequent technical foul.
You know, these players have to get smart in here. The emotions are running high. The game is an extremely physical game. The officials are going to want to keep it under control. Players have to adapt to the officiating and the atmosphere in the gymnasium.
Dan Marley will be at the free throw line. He is an 89% free throw shooter. And a timeout has been taken. Wisely so. The emotions high with the return of a lot. He slapped on Chris Childs, one of the newest Toronto Raptors, playing his 15th game since the trade for Mark Jackson. Childs now has been with New Jersey, signed as a free agent with the Knicks, and now traded to Toronto. And he is a nice backup to Alvin Williams, who has found himself in a bit of trouble tonight. And here is Hardaway, who was fouled by Chris Childs at the line for 2.
On Clark, Jerome Williams, all the new guys that he's brought in.
Well, and he should be, because as you know, Danny, it's extremely difficult to make those adjustments while the season is going on. Maybe in the beginning of the year is one thing, but I like his team better when there's movement, because I think it gives this man more options other than the deep jump shot.
Great three-point shot by Vince Carter, who now has 9 in the game.
As he just makes one from the hash mark.
After missing 3 fadeaways. I like those numbers.
That was Ainge range.
Yeah, oh, exactly.
Cedric Ceballos. Alonzo Mourning setting a screen, and said, who never saw a shot he didn't like. Rebound by Antonio Davis, who's now got 5 rebounds. Miami has missed 8 of their last 9. Toronto up by 4. Davis again. He has scored 10 points in 10 minutes. He's missed 1 shot, and he's collected 5 rebounds.
And he's doing a lot more this year than I've seen with his jump shooting.
Mourning stripped of the ball by Peterson. Out of bounds it goes with 14 seconds on the shot clock and 1:23 to play in the first quarter, as Del Curry will take a step on the floor for the first time, replacing Morris Peterson.
Well, Alonzo puts pressure on all of us out there. I broke what I was saying. My heart went in my mouth. I'm sort of probably rooting for him as much as I am doing the announcing.
I think it's understandable tonight. Hardaway. Shot clock at 5, knocked away by Carter and picked up by Oakley.
Well, I can just see, you know, I've been watching Alonzo very close. He's breathing pretty hard out there. His condition, it's going to take a while, mostly because his heart's beating so fast as he's playing. But he needs to get a second win, come to the bench, and hopefully the next time he comes back in, he'll feel a little better.
Well, and you got to deal with this game almost, for him, almost as if it were an exhibition game. This is the first game since the Olympics that he's participated in for this team. His body's got to get adjusted to competitive play as well as practice play, which he's encountered.
Miami shooting 26%. Good catch by Marley. Ceballos finding Mourning for 2. And Zoe has started 0 for 2 with the rebound pulled down by Vince Carter with half minute to play here in the first quarter.
You got to give Toronto a lot of credit. They came in, matched the intensity of this crowd on the road, and kind of held their own, and right now with a big lead.
Good point. Fights for it inside after the Del Curry miss, and a Miami foul called, and Davis has 10. And this is the biggest lead for Toronto tonight with 10 seconds to play in the first quarter. Anthony Mason against Oakley, driving inside. Rebound by Oakley. Seconds remain. Childs will try to beat the buzzer. Good if it goes. And that ends the first quarter. So Alonzo Mourning comes in with about 3:40 to play in the first quarter. He played A very tough first quarter against Antonio Davis.
Play with Alonzo Mourning. He's not a go-to player, but Anthony Mason has been their guy, especially in the low post offense. Brian Grant has taken up Alonzo's spot on the defensive end, guarding the other team's biggest players.
We begin the second quarter with Anthony Mason grinding inside on Keon Clark, his shot blocker extraordinaire. The fighting moves inside by Mourning, and he got tangled up and was on by Davis. 8-point lead by Toronto. This is their biggest tonight as Childs looks inside, and they were going for Carter. The ball ricochets off the rim, and finally Alonzo Mourning triggers it to Ceballos at the other end. Miami had missed their last 9 until that.
If they kept a stat for snowbirds or cherry pickers, that guy is the history leader. But I was laughing earlier when Marley threw that pass. I think Ceballos stole that pass. It was actually headed to Alonzo Mourning. But man, does he love to score and have a knack for that ball.
Carter for 2. He's got 13, John.
Well, he's hitting that shot now. You know, that's the shot that I said I'd love to see him penetrate this a little bit more.
Than a lot of guys they have over there on that bench. And his defense right now, he's gotten a couple fouls on Antonio Davis just by posting up. He's got some offensive rebounds. We saw a great outlet. And his defensive presence will make a difference, I think, immediately.
Well, I think he will make an impact. But I think physically, he's here in terms of hustle. I don't think skill-wise he's here. He doesn't have his touch that he usually has. His timing is not here. And it's not to be expected because he hasn't played. This is not the CYO. This is the NBA. You can't just walk on the floor and start to play without getting his timing and getting back into it.
Yeah, he won't be Alonzo Mourning for a while, but he'll still help this team right away, in my opinion.
Mourning gets his first point at the other end. A missed shot right there by Del Curry. Here comes the rookie House, finding Ceballos, and a Toronto.
Daddy's healthy, Daddy's blessed, and, you know, there are other things for children to worry about than whether their father's playing basketball or something like that. So, you know, our kids are happy. This isn't a big concern from them. Basketball's a small part of our life, so, you know, you can't tell them much except Daddy's okay.
He told us less than a week ago that he would not be back, barring a major miracle. Are you surprised he's back tonight?
I'm not surprised that he's back. I expected him to come back as soon as he felt he was able, whether it would be this year or next year, so no, I'm not surprised.
Well, good luck and best of health to the entire family.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Thank you, Craig. Great interview. What a sharp lady she is, John. You've been there since they met. 12 points right now for Davis of Toronto.
Well, a very sharp lady and very concerned. I think those are the things that Alonzo had to take into consideration in coming back. It wasn't just his own interest, but the interest of his family.
Alonzo was in Australia at the Olympics, flew back for the birth of his second child, then flew back to Australia to finish off the Olympic experience. Curry for 3 at the other end.
Great shot by Curry. He's the mad shooter out there. Him and Ceballos going at it, gun for gun. But right here, Vince Carter looked like he's got an ankle sprain or hit his knee or something. He's limping around out there.
Last time we saw a quality Toronto was in Toronto late January against the Philadelphia 76ers, and in the 4 minutes because of what just happened. He got knocked on the knee and he was gone.
Well, one of the things I like about them now, Danny, is that Lenny seems to have them with more movement. I see Carter doing a little bit more cutting as opposed to standing and trying to attack a set defense. You know, one of the things I wanted to tell you, Kevin, Alonzo being on that podium, Alonzo Mourning told me that was one of the places where he noticed that he was having a problem, that when he was standing on the podium getting his gold medal, he looked at his flush, and his flush was swelling up a little bit, and he pointed to whoever was beside him and said something about it. Pressure on it. Alonzo made the decision after he got the approval from the doctor.
Going for 3. Keon Clark picked up his 3rd foul. Alvin Williams has 3. Childs is on the Toronto bench with 3. Yet the Raptors, who led moments ago by 10, their biggest lead tonight, still up by 6, and a steal by Bowen, who gives to Hardaway, and they got numbers 4 on 3. Eddie House from the baseline.
House is as pure a shooter as there is in the game. The guy could really flat out stroke the basketball. Scored 61 last year in a Pac-10 game. But the thing about it is they're trying to make him become a point guard. And he's got some work to do, but he's done a nice job so far tonight, giving Alonzo 2 easy baskets already.
Curry the miss. Here comes the lightning quick House. Guarded by Carter, who doesn't seem to be affected by that banged-up knee we saw him looking at a couple minutes ago. There's Jim Hardaway, a screen by Mourning, opening up a shot for House. Mourning set that up.
Well, he set it up, but I love this guy, House. He has that Danny Ainge look in his eyes when he's coming down the court. I'm not going to pass this thing to anybody.
On Bowen, tough matchup for the rookie. Shot clock at 7. He finds the gap. Rebound inside by Alonzo Mourning, who collects his second rebound tonight.
Another great defensive job there by Bowen, forcing Peterson into a tough shot.
Hardaway throwing it up. Rebound by Jerome Williams. Alvin Williams the other way for 3. Tapped inside, plucked out of the air by Hardaway, ahead for Mason. 2-on-1 to House. That ties the game at 47. That's exactly what Pat Riley's looking for.
Well, that's what he wants. He wants them to get out and get some early offense, get some easy baskets. I think Mason deserves a lot of credit with that, because not only can he blow out with the ball, he did a great job of filling the lanes that time and running.
Raptors have hit 4 threes. Miami has hit 2.
But basically, with this team that they have in there now, they're a jump shooting team.
Wow.
This is one guy you don't want to make or take the jump shots, though.
He's got 12 all in the quarter.
Now, that was ridiculous right there. How did that shot go in? There was 9 seconds still in the shot clock. I don't even think I would have attempted that one, Coach.
I don't agree with you at all. You definitely would have.
Eddie House the miss. Rebound by a very active Jerome Williams, who fancied himself at one time as a point guard in college basketball.
Well, because of his dribbling skills. One of the things that I said to Jerome is that you're an unusual rebounder. You hustle, you work defensively.
Hardaway, trapped. Mason swings it out to Bowen for 3. Rebound by Oakley, and they'll try to wind it down to end the quarter. Toronto has lost 2 in a row on the road, but they have won 2 in a row overall.
Bowen is not known for being an outside shooter, but Coach Riley said today that he's more upset with him when he doesn't take the shots when he's open.
Oakley the miss, and the 3rd rebound torn down by an exhausted Alonzo Mourning. The boys, are good to see him back on the NBA hardwood. But Del Curry was the story in that second quarter. 15 points, 5 of 8 from the field. And because of his shooting, the Toronto Raptors will take a 52-47 lead into the locker room as we send it over to Craig Sager.
Well, Alonzo, obviously welcome back, but how do you feel?
Tired, man. Just ready to get back in the locker room and try to come up with a different strategy so we can control this ball game.
Does it feel good when you're out there playing?
I'm not even thinking about feeling good. I'm just thinking about trying to do what I can to help this team win. That's what it's all about. I'm not thinking about trying to think about anything else, really.
All right, thanks for talking to us.
You've helped us all. Yeah, thank you, Craig. You've helped us all.
Going out, you figure he's going to have to come away from the basket to try to get the ball. And if he comes across the switch, play out in front of him. And kind of just leave your big guy in to protect underneath. They obviously got 5 players with some range.
Can they get it to Pierce? No. Stiff will take it.
No, sir.
And we are going to overtime for the first time this season.
Yes, sir.
And I think he's got to be smart. Now he's going after the referee. He should just leave the game. He's got to be smarter than this.
He leaves with 12 points and 10 rebounds, but let's watch how he got 2 tees in the span of 10 seconds. It's a hard thing to do.
Well, he throws the ball down first. He comes over. That's the right call, first of all. He's inside the block. He's the weak side defender rotating over. So that's the first call. And then second down there, he makes a gesture at the official. And the other official came in. Joe Forty, the lead official, came in and saw the gesture as the other official had his back turned and got him out of the game.
Marley misses the free throw, and he's an 89% free throw shooter. John, how does this affect the Toronto Raptors?
Well, I think emotionally it affects them. One thing, physically it definitely affects them, because if you look at the size and the strength, Danny indicated you come back with Clark. Clark is now playing against, he's a thin person playing against a very physical Heat front line, so you're going to need him. I mean, it's just not the thing that you do at this point in the time, and particularly making a silly face at that point at the referee after emotionally throwing the ball on the floor. He's too good of a player and too smart of a player to let that happen.
Delay of game has just been called on Charles Oakley, so we'll keep track of that late. Mason at the stripe trying to complete the three-point play. Everybody jumps in the lane with that hesitation.
I think that should be a delay of game whenever Anthony Mason shoots a free throw.
That's a 4-point play. Here comes Carter. The time winding down in the third quarter. Rebound is inhaled by Mason. That'll take us to the fourth quarter.
You can tell how emotional this game is. I mean, almost every call from the beginning of the game, right from the tip, the players have been talking to the officials the whole game.
Marley got the feed from Ceballos. Gets his own miss. A left-handed layup by Dan Marley.
You act like that's a surprise. The guy's been playing basketball his whole life. He better be able to make a left-handed lay-in.
I would hope so at the professional level. But I tell you what, it sure is physical out there. And watching these guys, Dan, everybody's going up strong. There's no room for the meek under this basket.
What a spin by Carter to get free on the shot. They fight for the rebound inside. And there is a foul blown on Miami. Alonzo Mourning. Rebound by the 7-foot Clark. Williams to Oakley. Green swallowed the defense, and Oakley exploits it well.
Well, and that's his patented little jump set shot that he takes. I tell you what, it's amazing to me how many of those shots he gets in proportion to how well he makes that shot.
I can't believe Toronto. I mean, it just seems like Miami's really coming back, but Toronto is just hanging on. They just keep knocking down jump shots because they have no inside game whatsoever.
Mourning reels it in, and he's open for a shot, which he misses. Green is there. Rebound by Clark again, who's taking the place of the just ejected Antonio Davis.
Well, that shot reflects the fact of what I was saying about Alonzo. He's missing bad. He's needs to get his timing back. There's a certain amount of adjustment. That's a great play. A fake screen and a roll to the basket on Clark's part.
From the free throw line, Toronto has led most of the game. Their lead has gotten as high as 12. They've trailed by as many as 3. Alonzo Mourning remaining in the game after not playing at all in the third quarter. 10 minutes in the first half. Mourning fighting for the ball. Clark rejects it. Ceballos takes it inside with the runner and picked up by Alvin Williams. Miami has had a 1-for-10 shooting fourth quarter.
Well, and I like what I see with Alonzo now. He's getting a little bit more actively involved. I think he's getting a better feel after having been out. But I love the fact also the physicalness of this Toronto team. I tell you, this kid is shooting this ball outside. I love it when he's driving, but Carter really is sticking his shot now.
Carter's got a game-high 30 points. Number 5 scorer in the NBA has been great with a 12 of 23 display. Mason down the lane, and no one touched him.
Well, I really like the way that Alvin Williams has played tonight, particularly running this team. He's not forcing anything. He hasn't taken any bad shots. He's not looking for numbers. He's just looking to play, get the ball to the right people.
Well, and that's the thing that Lenny Wilkins cited about him today, is that he thought that he had a lot of confidence and a lot of maturity for a young player.
Curry with the miss. Here comes Mason galloping the other way. The Boston Celtics have just won in overtime. Bruce Bowen with the shot, and he hits it in by Boston's win. They keep pace with Indiana, now at 32 and 38 each, and tied for the last playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Inside, great pass into Carter from Alvin Williams on the wing.
That was 2 passes in a row. The first one he had Curry. Curry had the lay-in too, but elected to shoot the fadeaway. Another beautiful pass right there. That's a breakdown on Miami's defense in 2 consecutive possessions.
Alvin Williams with 10 assists and 9 points, 3 rebounds. Backing in is Mason. Over Clark.
Well, and I love what Mason is doing. Alonzo's kind of like staying on the weak side, becoming a weak side rebounder. Mason is backing his man in and taking his shot. So, you know, that's a good thing because Alonzo shouldn't try to dominate offensively right now. He's got to get into it with a flow. And I'm glad to see Mason still maintaining his confidence with Alonzo out there.
Clark shuffles it off to Williams, coughs it up. Here comes Eddie House, who dances by Clark, feeds inside to Ceballos. Tap and try, Alonzo Mourning.
Well, I think that was caused by House and House's quickness. He got down the court quick. He penetrated. That opened it up for Alonzo to get in there before it became flooded to tap the ball in the basket.
Alonzo 9 points and 7 rebounds.
And Toronto looks tired right now. Their offense is very methodical. They're just kind of sloppy on their passes and their screening.
Oakley to Williams. Shot clock at 1 for 3. Rebound Ceballos. They might think about going to Mason, who's got 18 points in the game, but John 16 in the second half for Miami.
And that's what I like, Kevin. I mean, he didn't sit back and wait. Alonzo's in there. He realizes the clock is much thinner. He can physically take him in low as he did then.
Going for 3 and a whistle.
It's a leaper. But that poundage that you lost in the locker room is very significant when you got guys like Mason, Grant, and Mourning out there.
Carter double teamed and somehow squeezes up a shot.
Well, I like Jerome Williams right there. He had the tip in if he didn't make that basket. So good play by Carter. Great defense by Miami. They're making him earn it.
34 for Vince Carter. 9 in the quarter. Timmy Hardaway. Mason looking for Grant, who gets the ball. Shot clock at 3. Marley for 3. Rebound by Jerome Williams.
Dan has really struggled with his outside shot all year. You know, he's such a great three-point shooter throughout his career. I think he's got to get it going before the playoffs. Give this Heat a chance because he plays such good defense. You can't afford to not have him out there.
Well, and Danny, as you know, a shooter has to take a lot of shots. Dan doesn't take a lot of shots. And, you know, usually when he takes his shot, it's life or death. You're talking about a shot. That's a big, huge bucket right there by Williams.
He's got 11, but a big-time 3 right there.
And what a big time to make the 3. The guy makes almost 50% of his points in the fourth quarter throughout this season. So this is his time.
Oakley knocked it away. They only gave Williams a 2-point shot, which the Toronto bench is just livid over. They thought it was 3. Nonetheless, 2 on the bench. Here's a 3-point shot. Again! Alvin Williams puts it down, and it's 96-87 Toronto.
You gotta love Alvin Williams. I mean, the guy's just been quiet. He's been setting everybody else up. Knocks down 2 beautiful jumpers on the clutch. Right here, Carter. Good pass by Williams right there. Great defense. Weak side. There's Alvin. Beautiful shot by Carter. But this was a 2. Coming off the screen right here. He just goes up inside the 3-point line. Pretty good defense by Bowen, but no fear by Alvin Williams, the young point guard. You could see why they wanted to trade Mark Jackson.
Away to Mason. Toronto is on a 7-0 run after the lead was cut down to 2. Gyrating Mason finds 2 inside himself. He's been great tonight with now 22 points.
And I love the way he's doing it, too. He's doing it at the right time. He's coming in. He's using muscle against a muscle man there. But we have to call Alvin Williams Alvin fourth quarter Williams. Because every time we've seen him, this kid has stepped up at the right time.
It's a great point. Carter missing from outside. Marley the rebound. Backpedaling catch by Mason. 2.5 to play in the game. Here's Bowen open for 3. Mason the rebound. And the drive and the foul on Oakley. Only 3 3-pointers hit tonight by Miami. Marley for 3, missing. And a rebound inside claimed by Bowen. Out to Hardaway for 3. Rebound Bowen again. Feisty as ever inside, even though he's playing in foul trouble. And Marley will flip it over to Mason. Grinding his way into Oakley and feeding to Grant. Defense tonight by Toronto.
Excellent defense, but again, you know, Grant has not had to have that much size in there, so he allows the longer athletic players to come in and contest the shots.
And that was just a great block, too, on the part of Carter. I see him doing more things to utilize his athleticism than I've seen him do before.
Williams inside to Carter, fading away. Rebound by Grant, 60 seconds to play. Uh-oh, Curry just pulled a hamstring. Curry just pulled a hamstring and dives on the floor. It's Hardaway. Dives into the lane and gets 2. That's Hardaway's first field goal since the 3rd quarter. Boy, Curry will go immediately to the locker room. He is done, the 3rd Toronto player to leave.
I hope it's just a cramp, but not a pulled hamstring. You know, sometimes you just cramp up as he's running down right there, but that could be a Ken Griffey Jr. hamstring. Oh, baseball injury. Hopefully that's a cramp.
The initial response is, though, it's a cramp and not a hamstring.
Good. Thank you, Segs. Williams to Oakley. Shot clock is at 17.
See, and this is where you may miss Anthony Carter a little bit, too, because that matchup with Williams out there with Dan Molly, Williams is a little bit quicker, maybe able to run around more.
Carter threw it away, but a Miami foul was called on Brian Grant before the turnover.
Got them ready to go.
Well, and they were more responding to the energy level in the house. I think it was more of an adjustment on the part of Miami, but I think that they'll reap the benefits, certainly, of the big fella coming back eventually.
Toronto is going to win it. A 36-point performance by Vince Carter, leading them. A fourth foul on Dan Marley, and you have to go back to January 30th in Toronto for the last time that the Raptors won a game against a quality opponent.
They have a concern in terms of an inside post-up game, particularly when they get against the bigger and stronger and better teams.
Inside the NBA is on deck with Ernie, Kenny, and Peter in studio. Scores, highlights from the Boston win and the Indiana win, and more on Alonzo Mourning's return to the NBA tonight. So the team with the best home record in the Eastern Conference, Miami, falling on a night they welcome back their heart and their soul, Alonzo Mourning.